Welcome back 3D students. In this video we're going to create a wall for our castle project. So let's start by switching to 4 views by pushing Alt W on your keyboard, and then let's come over to the command panel, make sure we're in the Create tab and have geometry selected, and let's click Box. And we're going to create a box that is about rectangular and looks kind of like that. Right click to turn off creation mode. And then let's go over to the Modify tab and let's round off some of these numbers. This is the length. If you created yours in the same direction I did mine, then this should be the length. So I'm going to make this 150. I'm using tab to push. I push tab to go down to the next blank. I'm going to make this one 9, and I'm going to push tab and make this one 65. Okay, now we're going to subdivide this wall so we can extrude up the castle wall top, which are called crenellations. So in order to see our subdivisions, we need to turn on edged faces, and that can be found right here in your shading menu. So if you click here, just check edged faces. Now we can see the edges. So because of the direction my wall is going here, in other words, it's oriented in the Y direction lengthwise, I need to create length segments. You may need to create width segments, just depends on which direction your wall is going. So I'm going to click and drag on this spinner to see how many sections I might need. And I think I'm going to start with 30. And whatever number you start with, this number needs to be even, and you'll see why shortly. Okay, so in order to be able to extrude these new polygons that we created here on the top upwards, we need to add an Edit Poly modifier. So come up to the modifier list and add Edit Poly. And now we have access to the vertices, edges, borders, polygons, and elements that make up this mesh. So let's turn on polygon mode, and we're going to click and select every other polygon along the top here. Now to select more than one polygon, you hold down Control as you click. If you select one by accident, you can hold down Alt to deselect it, or you can hit Control Z. But just select every other polygon like so. And now you can see why we used an even number, because when we repeat this, we want this one to be where there's a space. And we'll see it again in just a second. So now what we need to do is extrude these upward. Now we can do that a couple of different ways. Over here, there is the Extrude tool. If you click this button, it will give you a little gizmo as you hover over the polygons, a little tool. And you can just click and drag like so. And once you let go, if you click and drag again, you'll create another extrusion. Now this works fine most of the time, but sometimes you need to use the tool settings, which can be found right here if you click this little square that's next to the button. And that brings up this little dialog box here. This is where you can switch the method of extrusion, and you can also click and drag the extrusion upward as well. Now if I want to create another extrusion on top of this one, then I'm going to click the plus sign, and then I can just adjust that one as well. Once I get it done, I can click the checkbox. So let's do it this way, but I'm going to X out of this and turn this tool off. And I'm going to hit Control Z a couple times. And now I'm going to bring this tool back up, the tool settings right here, the extrude tool settings. And I've got my first extrusion right there. And it's about 6. Then I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to click and drag and adjust this down to where it looks about like that. And then I'm going to hit the check to accept what I did. Now while we've got these looking like this, let's get the scale tool. You can click this right here in your toolbar, or remember you can also use the E key or R key to activate the scale tool. And we're going to get right in the center here and scale these down so they look like that. Now if they're too tall, you can switch to your Move tool by pushing W on your keyboard and adjust them up or down. Now let's add a couple more details to this castle wall. we need an edge. To add the detail I want to add, we need an edge right here. And we need to add that edge. The easiest way to add that edge is to come up here to the top of your window underneath your toolbar, and you see this little area right here. This thing is called the modeling ribbon, and as you hover over these little tabs here, you can see that you get little tools. And there's also tabs up here. There's different tabs. There's modeling, freeform, selection, blah blah blah. But there's also this little button right here at the end. I'm going to click this and expand those tools so you can see them all. And they have different categories. You can see here, edit, geometry, polygon, so forth and so on. The tool that will give us an edge wherever we want it is called Swift Loop. So click that tool and turn it on, and then when you hover over your wall section, you can see that you have a green line here. Just get to about right here and click, and that will create an edge for us. And then let's turn the tool off. Now this tool is only available in the modeling ribbon. It's not over here or anywhere else. Alright, so let's go around the back side of this wall, and we're going to extrude the wall outward so that we have a ledge for our soldiers to walk on. So let's click this polygon, and then let's go over to the end of the wall and hover over this last polygon, hold down Control and double click on it, and that selects everything in between. And now we need to extrude these polygons outward in the X direction. So I want to show you another way to extrude. We could use the extrude tool, but make sure you have your move tool selected. Another way to extrude is to hold down Shift while moving. So let's move it about right there. And that should give you a wall, a place for the soldiers to walk. We can also use this edge to give us another detail on the front. So let's select this polygon, hold down Control, double click on the last polygon in the row, and let's extrude these out, holding down Shift and using our move tool in the X direction, about like that. And then we could scale these down using the scale tool in the Z direction. Oops. If you deselect like I did, just hit Control Z, that'll give you your selection back. Like I said, we could scale these down in the Z direction like that. And then we could move them upward in the Z axis like that. Sort of level that out a little bit. And we could actually make this look even more severe if we switch to edge mode right here and we double click on this edge, because we don't want this part of it. That selects that whole edge loop, and we can move that edge down in the Z-axis to make that a little more aggressive. So this would make it harder for people to climb up onto the wall. One final thing we can do to make this wall look more interesting is we can flare out the bottom. To do that, we can double click on this bottom edge, since we're still in edge mode, and move it out in the X direction a little bit. And so this is our wall so far. Now, your wall doesn't have to look exactly like this. You don't have to have this thing on the front. You don't have to have it flared out at the bottom. You don't have to have these things on the top. It's entirely up to you. But I think you do need at least the first set of crenellations, and you need a place for the soldiers to walk on the backside. So after you complete your wall, make sure you save the scene file. We can come up to File, Save As, and just name this Castle 01, and click Save. And when we come back in the next video, I'll show you how to add some more differentiation to your wall section and how you might use it. And I'll see you then.